Today, I want to talk with you about how to keep cool during a heat wave, even if you don't have air conditioning, especially if you don't have air conditioning. This summer, there are heat waves all over the world, and unfortunately, the prediction is that although it's unusually high with reference to other summers, this is probably going to be one of the coolest ones with reference to future ones. So it's very important for all of us to learn how to manage this internal heat. And I want to share with you some practices that come from ancient cultures and from traditions of thousands of years where people had to adapt without having air conditioning and having to somehow keep cool. So first I'm going to talk about some simple basic understandings that we need to keep in mind when we are in a heat wave. Also, well, first, as we were saying, who are the most vulnerable? The older people, the children, the pregnant women, people that have difficulties, more difficulties than the others in regulating their internal heat. Also remember that some drugs, antidepressants like and relaxing drugs, prescription drugs that are suppressing the serotonin reuptake also interfere with the heat regulation. So it's a very important subject for all of us. Some simple basic rules that I want you to remember is, of course, keep hydrated, and we are going to talk about some best ways of doing it. Eating foods that are also cooling, staying, of course, out of the sunlight, creating airflow to be able to somehow cool the environment and cool yourself. And also I'm going to teach you some practices from yoga and qigong that are good for keeping cool during a heat wave. So the other problem that happens with the heat racing at night, for example, is that it interferes with sleep. Sleep is very much influenced by the temperature around, and the hotter it is around, the more difficult it is to sleep. And also if there is a lot of heat, like today I got up at 5 and it was already 74 here. So how do we do to keep cool as we are trying to sleep? So some simple basic skills or practices is wet a piece of cloth and a towel and put it around your neck, which is a way of keeping your whole nervous system more cool, because as you know, the vagus nerve starts here, and the vagus nerve is the longest nerve that goes all along the spine and informs the lungs and the heart and your digestion, all of which and other major functions in the body, all of which are being affected by this extreme heat. So cold compress or cold towel in your neck goes a long way, and also part of the towel coming in the front so that it helps cool your core. So instead of worrying about your hands or your feet, keeping those cold, you try to keep cold the core part of your body, where your most vital organs are, your heart, your lungs, and also in the back, then the nervous system, you know, the main nerves you can access also through the back. If the heat is very intolerable at night, and I know for some of you it is, because of the heat wave, another possibility is to take a shawl and make it wet and just kind of wrap yourself on the wet cold shawl, and as it evaporates, as your own heat will drop, and the the shoal will eventually become dry. Or you can also, this was used in ancient Egypt, they would make a towel, very cold, sorry, not a towel, make a sheet, a big piece of cloth, wet, and then they would wrap themselves into that, again, to quickly lower the temperature. Because the problem is that you might start feeling heat, and then you may feel tired, or you might feel cramps. Those are the first signs of that you are being affected by the heat. As it progresses, it can come to heat exhaustion, the second step recognized by doctors about the heat illness, and that will make you feel, perhaps you feel some nausea, or you feel really fatigued. And so that it means that it's getting, progressively to you. And then when it just gets to levels of great danger, which is the heat stroke, you feel confused, you are more than, you are dizzy, you are confused, and fainting. So at that point, of course, try to get some extra help, and maybe go to the hospital. In any of these stages, to lower your body temperature, you can wrap yourself in this wet, cold sheet or towel, and it will help you to temporarily, at least, lower the heat, and so that you can then manage better. And of course, get in the shade. If you are in a house, depending on how it is. I, for example, here in this apartment, it's an old building, it doesn't have air conditioning. What I do is I open the window at night, so that the cold air keeps coming in, and open all the windows of the apartment, so that from the front and the back there is this air moving, and that's very important. Airflow is very important. You could, so I open it at night, and then I open it during the day until around 10 o'clock, and by then it's so hot that then I lower one of these particular blinds that I have, that are special to kind of leave some of the heat out. But whatever is possible for you, try to keep the environment where you are as cool as possible. Another thing you can do is to squirt yourself with water and sit in front of a fan. And as the water evaporates, you feel your body cooler. But what if there is no, the power goes off, because so many people are using air conditioning or whatever, or for whatever reason the capacities are exceed, and then the power goes out. If the power goes out, again, remember the basic rules. Keep hydrated, have airflow. You can get a magazine or a flyer or whatever, improvise a fan, a handheld fan, and just bring some air to you. So that will help, will assist your body in lowering the body heat. This is just so important, because it's if left untreated, and if it gets to be too much, and maybe you are an older person, like many of us are, or a child, or you're having some particular other challenging physical conditions. And even for all of us, very important to keep hydrated, keep the air circulating, whatever way you can. I mean, even if there is no power, even if you don't have air conditioning, you always can hopefully find something that you can create airflow, and as much as possible keep away from direct sunlight. And then I was talking about foods, some foods that can help you because they are cooling. If you have access to it, is of course watermelon. It would be fantastic. Cucumbers, they are great. And you can do, let's say you can only get 1 or 2 cucumbers. You cut the cucumbers in slices, use portions of the cucumber and put it in a flask with cold water, and then drink that cucumber water during the day. That will help you go a long way. Always paying attention to how your body is feeling. Of course, I'm not saying ignore it because you are drinking cucumber, you are safe, but I'm just saying it will help you cool your system more than if you just drink more than if you just drink water alone or eat cucumber alone. So cut the cucumber, make your cucumber water, drink that water during that particular day, eat the cucumber slice at the end of the day, and then create a new one in the next day. You can also have mint infusion, not necessarily boiling water or anything, but just putting in the flask the cold water and then put in the mint leaves, and they will diffuse part of their cooling properties in the water, and you can drink it. And you can also have a mint cucumber water. All of that will help you to assist your body in regulating the heat. I'm really concerned because I see these heat waves, how much they affect all of us, and unfortunately something that's going to keep repeating because of our high consume of fuels. So if we could lower the use of fuels in our cars, etc., also consider whether you buy a car that consumes a lot of fuel or one that has less, but that exceeds our talk today. But it's part of thinking at personal levels and then at community levels. Of course, planting trees that give more shade. A lot of the people that are most affected also during heat waves, besides agricultural workers and construction workers that need to be out in the heat, are people in what's called redlining districts, which is some planning that was done in 20th century to have people with less economical, socioeconomic levels, accessibility, money, race sometimes excluded from the best parts of the city, the coolest parts, and they didn't plant, the city didn't plant more trees there. So we need to also plant more trees. But all of these are pieces of a puzzle. I'm talking to you today about taking care at personal level, and then as citizens who care for each other, we can also consider some of these other bigger parts of the puzzle. Coming back to the personal care, as we were saying, keep hydrated. Just if you don't have cucumbers and you don't have mint, don't worry, just drink plain water, but keep yourself hydrated. Stay away from the sun. Have your circulating air in whatever way you can manage it. If you can add cucumber to the water or mint, that's great. If not, plain water is good too. Other foods that are cooling, carrots, lettuce, they all have a lot of liquid in it, a good proportion of liquid, which can help your body also to cool down. Just find cooling things. And ice cream is not necessarily best because it has a lot of sugar in it. And it also, according to the old traditions of India and China, you don't want to put very icy things inside yourself because it's much more burdening also for the body to try to process that. You can use cold on your body, on top of the body, just cold towels or sheets or whatever to lower the temperature from outside, from the external part of your body. And then there are two breathings from yoga tradition from thousands of years old. In India, it gets super hot. And these two cooling breathings are like this. One's called Shitali, and it involves putting the tongue like this and then inhaling through the tongue, you immediately feel the coolness in your palate and your mouth, and it starts spreading. And you inhale through the tongue like that, and you exhale through the nose. So you slowly withdraw the tongue and then exhale through the nose. And the second variety is through putting the teeth together and inhaling through barely parted lips. So we are going to do both. Don't worry if you cannot do shitali, the first one. That's a genetic thing. Some people can put the tongue like this. Others cannot. But both of them work identically. So let's try so that you can find which works best for you. And I'm going to start with the seed curry, which is the second one that everyone should be able to do. And then we go to shitali. And both of them have the same, taking the air through the mouth and then exhaling through the nose. And after you take the air in, you do a 3 second pause. So you kind of rest in that coolness, and then you exhale. And let's start with 5 rounds of seed curry, which is the one that is the hissing sound, like this. Pause and exhale through the nose. Sorry, I need to talk, so so let's start again. Seed curry and shitali, both of them are with abdominal breath. So let's do a few abdominal breaths first to know that we can do that. And then do 5 rounds of each of these two forms, remembering that after we take the air in through the mouth, we are going to stop for 3 seconds, resting in that coolness that we feel, and then exhale through the nose. So first, let's go to the abdominal breath. Sit with the spine straight, body relaxed. You can bring your hands, your healing hands, to the area of your abdomen, putting the hand just under your navel. Sorry, I cannot show you that because of the configuration here, but you know where your navel is. So put your hand under the navel. You can have the other hand on top of that, like this. Double wham there, just under your navel. And we are going to practice a little bit of abdominal breath, exhaling, bringing the abdomen in. Inhaling, allowing the abdomen to balloon as the air goes all the way down there without forcing. Just imagine that we are like children exploring this form of breathing. Exhaling, the abdomen comes in. Inhaling through the nose, the abdomen balloons. Exhaling, abdomen comes in. Inhaling through nose, abdomen balloons. 2 more of these. Maybe a little smile to help you relax. So we are doing abdominal breath to remember that that's the breath that we are going to be using as we try this cooling breath of seed curry and shitali. Okay, so now we are going to do seed curry, which is the one with the teeth together and the mouth barely open. We inhale through the teeth, through the opened mouth. And then exhale through the nose. So let's do it again. This time we're going to do a pause after we inhale. So there are several pieces here to combine. One is we are taking the air through barely parted lips and through the teeth together with this hissing sound. And the air is coming all the way to abdomen. Then we close the mouth, we exhale through the nose, the abdomen is coming in. Okay, so let's do that without the pause for now. Last one. Air is going down to abdomen. We are exhaling through the nose. Now we are going to do the same, but having a Now we are going to do the same, but having a little pause after the inhale. So we take the air through barely parted lips. Air goes to abdomen. We close the mouth and keep the sensation of coolness. And then we exhale through the nose, feeling that sensation spreading and down too. So, okay, let's do 5 of these. Sit carry, taking the air through barely parted lips, hissing sound, air goes down to abdomen. Stopping for 3 seconds with the air in, and then exhaling through the nose. Slow, gentle, long exhalation. Okay, let's try again. 4 more times. Inhaling through barely parted lips, air goes to abdomen. Stopping, keeping the air in. Exhaling through the nose. Can you remember all this? Can we do 3 breaths that you will remember? You are taking the air through the mouth, barely parted lips, hissing sound, it goes down to abdomen. Hold it 3 seconds, sensing that coolness in your palate, in your mouth, and then exhaling through the nose. Okay, let's try 3. I'll be silent. Let's do 2 more. One more. That was Sikari, and now let's try Shitali. Same principle. Abdominal breath, you take the air through the open mouth, in this case through the tongue, the air goes all the way down to abdomen. Abdominal breath is always more cooling than chest breathing. Taking the air through the mouth is always more cooling too. And adding this shape of the tongue like that, or the teeth like we were practicing just a moment ago, is also more cooling. You can do this sitting, standing, walking, and laying down. And of course it's subtle, so you have to do 2, 3, 5 minutes of it to start feeling the progressive cooling. It's also very good for against hot flashes, and also It's good to cool down when you are feeling that you're heating up with anger or whatever. So it's a really good practice to remember and to use daily, so that you get to know it more and more, and also use it when there are heat waves. Okay, so Shitali. Abdominal breath. We keep the air in for 3 seconds or longer if that's comfortable for you. And exhale through the nose. Long, slow exhalation. Let's do 5 of these. Remember, abdominal breath, taking the air through the mouth with a tongue like this, and keeping the air in 3 seconds, and then exhaling through the nose. Slow, long exhalation without forcing. So just explore it, like if we were children. What is all this about? Let me see. Where do I feel the goodness? You probably will feel it in your mouth and in your palate. And then just relaxing into it. Okay? So 4 of these, 4 or 5 of these. Two last ones. Notice what's happening at your tongue and at your palate. And for a moment, sensing. It's very subtle, but it starts by cooling your mouth and your palate. And of course, we could combine with putting a cold towel there, a wet towel with cold water there, or we could also use our hands and press on these 2 points here. Pillars of heaven, we have seen them in other classes, which are connected internally to the area of the nose, and they are also, of course, connected to the vagus nerve, since the vagus nerve starts right here. The vagus nerve being this longest and broader nerve that we have, and that is part of the autonomic nervous system, and it helps to trigger the relaxation response, which helps the organs to more easily come back into a state of well functioning. Of course, the organs, when they are attacked with overheat, they are needing to somehow come back into balance. So we can combine this 2 breathings from yoga with this practice from Qigong of I like using my hand like this, using this part and this to press on the 2 points, pillars of heaven, which, as I was saying, connect with all the area of the sinus and the nose, and also with the nervous system, with the vagus nerve. So now we are going to do this. You can also do it when you are laying down in bed. Pretty nice. So, okay. The same with Sikari. Always abdominal breath, remember that. Holding the air at the top of the inhalation, exhaling through nose, inviting the body to relax, to cool down. Two more. Remember, you can't not see my abdomen, but all this is abdominal breath. So sometimes I go like this, means remember it's abdominal breath, okay? This kind of. So. I hope that these practices help you. Remember to keep hydrated, away from the sunlight, having some airflow. If you need to cool, remember the cold towel or wet cold shawl or wet sheet. Wrap yourself in that to lower the heat. Eating cucumber, carrots, lettuce, especially cucumber, watermelon, having cucumber water, mint water, or both of them combined, and keeping an eye, on how you're feeling. If you start feeling nauseated and fatigue, do some of these practices to try to regain cooling. You can also submerge your body in cold water if that's a possibility. So to keep lowering the temperature of your body. You could squirt water and have a fan blowing to you. We are trying to devise different ways of keeping cool in whatever way we can. Like right now it's I think 85 here. And just doing this is helping a lot too. So I invite you to be extra careful during this heat wave, for you, for your loved ones, old ones, children, pregnant people, whoever has certain condition that doesn't allow them to move too much, or whatever is, they are taking antidepressants or some cardiovascular prescription drugs also interfere with a good management of coming back to a good temperature. So pay extra care, please. This is a very serious challenge, and we can do it. I hope by paying attention and doing what you can, you have a possibility of keeping cooler during the heat wave, even without an air conditioning. And it's something we all need to learn, even those who have air conditioning, because sometimes, like it has happened also in several cities, the powers go out. So I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you practice. With all my love to you, be well. Thank you. Share this with whomever you think it could benefit from it. Let's help each other. Thank you.